Yo, yo, yo. Hey guys, welcome back to another awesome edition of the Best Practices Show podcast. One of the challenges you might have as a dentist is you look at your schedule today and you say, I don't even like half of these people. Well, how do I go to having more of the patients I really love to see in my schedule? Maybe some of these headaches would turn into happiness. Well, today we bring on an amazing coach, Adriana Booth, and we show you exactly how to do that with this framework. So please listen up. I hope you guys enjoy this, and we'll see you soon. Hey guys, welcome back to the Best Practices Show podcast, where our jam, our goal forever with this podcast is to bring you great information, speak to your pain points, some of the things that you just struggle with every single day, and give you some great information, some great frameworks to help you improve your practice and your life so you could start enjoying being a dentist or a team member a little bit more. And we're going to be doing it today with an amazing coach of ours. Her name is Adriana Booth. So Adriana, thanks for being back again. I always appreciate you.
Hey, thanks, Kirk. I love being here.
Awesome. And today we're going to be talking about from headaches to happiness, how to have more of the patients you love to see. Wow, that is a big promise. And we're going to deliver on that promise, right? So talk about the why. Why is today's topic so important to the dentists who might be listening to this?
Yeah. Oh, gosh. I mean, it has been a minute since I was fortunate enough to be a clinical hygienist. And, you know, one of those snarky little tricks some of us will play on our doctors is to put those certain patients on the schedule.
You did not do that.
I might have been an accomplice. And you could just watch somebody come out of a room like, who put them on at 4:00, you know? So we all know how that feels to have your not so favorite patients in not the best spots on your schedule. So
Right.
What we want to flip it around and look at is how can we get our great patients, the ones we enjoy to see, the ones we see them on the schedule, we automatically smile and know it's going to be a great day. So we start with thinking, okay, who are my favorite patients? What are their characteristics? And how can we get more of them? You know, you feel just a peaceful feeling walking into that room when you know that they value you, the work you do, they trust you, and they pay their bill.
Yeah.
Right? You know?
I love it.
Right.
Wait, hold on to that thought because you're prompting a lot of thinking on myself. Okay, if you're a dentist listening, just imagine a day where you look at your schedule and you have like all of your favorite patients in one day. You look at your column, you're like, wow, these are some of my favorite people. These are the people that show up. They pay their bill. They do it gracefully and with gratitude. And they actually are picking up what we're putting down. They care about the same things that we care about. They care about being healthy. They actually trust us. How amazing would that day be? Not only for your stomach lining, but your joy. You would actually go, this is the greatest day ever. I guarantee you'd produce more on a day like that than you would other days. There'd be less headaches. It's a no-brainer. Now, I know you're thinking, Kirk, that's a unicorn. That doesn't happen. Okay. More often. Okay. Let me go back. Let me back up. Beep, beep. That's my backup news. Okay. Some of you, and you know who you are. It's Sunday and you don't look at the schedule at all. And for a lot of reasons. But one of the reasons you don't look at the schedule is you don't want to see that patient that makes you crazy in the schedule on Monday when it's a Sunday, because now you're ruining your Sunday by looking at the schedule for Monday. And you just go, I don't want to do that. And so I get it. I get it. So the goal of this podcast is to help you incrementally move more into a practice where you're working with people that care about what you care about, and you're getting the right patients in the chair. Pete Dawson said this many years ago, and he referred to it as something like the trifecta. And he said it's the right patient for the right procedure at the right time of day. And it's, when you think about that, you get one of those three right, it's a good day. You get two of the three right, it's a pretty good day. You get all three of those right, it's like the best day ever. You're like, that was amazing. And people paid. And so that doesn't happen by accident. It happens by being dedicated to a vision and being consistent in its execution. We're going to show you how to do that today. So, AB, where do I even start? Like, give me the starting point for this.
Well, if, so that we don't keep everybody here until tomorrow, we'll think about it in two big buckets, okay? And the two big buckets that we'll go and dive deeper into are defining our core customer and implementing a patient ID system. And I know those might sound a little simple just to say two buckets, but they are plentiful. And there are a lot of things within those two buckets.
Okay, go back to the core customer. What is a core customer? And give me an idea of how to do that.
Okay, so like we mentioned a few minutes ago, is we really want to imagine our favorite patients. Okay, so when we think about getting crystal clear on who is our core customer, we want to think of how they come into our practice, how they behave in our practice, how we interact with them, how they value us. So we want to think about, okay, maybe I'm a young practice who is a little more in the bread and butter dentistry section. It's an awesome section to be in. I'm newer in my practice and I want more patients. Maybe we'll call it in a very positive light, the soccer moms. Right. These are maybe in the late 20s, early 30-year-olds with young families. And we want more of them. So maybe that's a core customer. Or maybe we have an airway and sleep practice. There's a lot of studies that are coming out. There's really not a certain age range, but we also want to target the people that may be starting to have some effects of having some sleep or TMD issues. That's probably going to be in our career individuals in their 40s and 50s and up. So that's where we also think about our core customers.
Yeah. And I know this sounds hard, but we actually have a tool. It's called the differentiation tool. We'll put it in the show notes. You can download it. It'll start you on that path. But let's just make it even more simple than that. One of the things you can do if you have a hard time to defining core customer is just print the schedule at the end of the day. I know people don't like to do print paper, but say to your team in a post huddle or even once a week, say, okay, listen, here's the schedule for all 4 days. Put CC next to any core customer in any place in the schedule at all. Likely, if you've never done this work, it's not going to be a majority of the people in your schedule. There'll be a handful, maybe 10%. You'll go, okay, that's a CC. Kenny Smith, that's a CC. Diane Jones, CC. And now you can start to get an idea of why. Because for me, I'm an eye on the disc profile, just like Adriana. A lot of it is emotion. It's a feeling. I can't necessarily describe it in a tangible way, but I enjoy somebody's company. I enjoy being with them. And your team members can help you. They'll go, you know why you like being with them? Why? And now you can start to identifying these. Here's the point. By identifying these few core customers, you can start to put more energy into them, and where you put your energy, it grows. So if you're putting your energy into negativity, that grows. If you're putting energy into the news, that grows. If you're putting energy into how poor reimbursements are killing dentistry, that energy grows. So you want to shift your energy to how do we find, keep, and grow our patient base with these core customers. And you'll find when they refer other people, look at that. I can't even talk because it's the end of the day. Refer other people. They usually refer people that are just like them. They say like this, yeah, I know you're expensive and you don't take my insurance and I have to submit it myself or whatever, but I hear you're worth it. You can say, absolutely, come on in. And I have to be on time. Yes, true. So you want them really well referred. So it's good stuff. Now, talk about implementing a patient ID system, which is a little bit harder than that. What is that?
Okay, can we go back to something really quick?
Please, yeah.
Okay, so I am going to challenge you just in the same way. I just went through this with one of my clients who I've worked with, thankfully, because I love them like the family for over 7 years now. And when we were going through core customer, it was like, really, they struggled. And I'm like, okay, I'm surprised. Because they are top tier. I mean, they've been doing the work for a long time and they're really good at it. But everything, like you just said, was emotional based. And they kept saying, oh, but we love her. And then you would have the one person on the team who's not an emotional based thinker say, they take about 2 years to pay off some of their things.
Right.
Like, do they like us as much as we like them? I don't know.
Right.
So how could you challenge the thinking around that?
Are you asking me to answer that? Well, my answer today, or right now, right this second, would be, how do I take this from subjective to objective? Because as a feeler, I don't often describe things very accurately. So we could do that with data. We could do that with a sentence. We could do that with the patient ID system, which we're going to be talking about next. Is that what you're alluding to?
Yes, sir.
Oh, look at that. Ding, 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 ding. I got it right. So,
Kirk, I mean, this is why you are the leader of the crew here at ACT.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes I don't know. Very kind words, but sometimes I don't know what I'm up to. So describe a patient ID system. So what is it?
At the patient ID system, the first thing I want you to erase from your mind when we say that we are going to rate or identify our patients and categorize them is that this is not judgmental. This is not judging them in any other way than from behaviors. So just history is going to dictate which category they fall in.
Right.
I get really strict with this, is if I'm thinking of, and let's call it the ABC system. That's the patient identification system that we commonly refer to, and we'll link that as well to help walk you through that in your practice. The A's are really easy to define, typically, right? They'll show up on time. They value our recommendations. They say yes to treatment because they trust us. And they pay their balances. Sometimes they're just really even eager to prepay because they do value us. And so when I say an A patient, I may have someone that says, oh, that person's a C patient. And someone else will raise their hand and say, but they fit all those categories, but they're really grouchy. Okay, but they still fit the A category. So we have to make sure we're not making emotional-based decisions. Now, if they really look rude to your team, things of that nature, obviously we weren't going to categorize them as an A patient. We don't tolerate that type of things in our cultures. But when we go to the B patients, those are the ones my teams will really struggle with. They're like, A patients, easy. C patients, easy. B patients, I'm not sure, you know? So we think about a real simple way could be thinking about maybe they have 1 or 2 broken appointments in maybe 18 months or 2 years. You know, we don't want to put them on too short of a leash. Maybe they've shown up late a few times, 5-10 minutes, you know, not horrifically late. And then maybe we have to kind of chase them around a little bit, but they eventually pay, but it might take six weeks before they typically will pay their balances.
Yeah.
Does that sound pretty fair to you, Kirk?
It sounds pretty fair, and I love this conversation. So I'm going to add some thoughts, as I always do to these. So let's back up to the why. Like a patient identification. Listen, everybody does it. Everybody. You even have A, B, and C friends. You do, but you don't really call it out. You're like, I don't know. So it's true. You have people that you enjoy being with. You want to spend more time with them. You have people that you don't want to spend time with at all, and you might call those C friends. And then B, kind of in the middle. So back to what you said, I totally agree, and I would piggyback on that. I think a lot of dental offices, it's just easy to start here. We're going to identify A patients, and really, let's start with the easy ones. They show up and they pay. And then we can talk about valuing our recommendations and are they nice or are they not nice? And do we like them? But that becomes a little bit more subjective. So I would encourage you. And the challenge with a young dentist is that you can't always choose to work with people you like. You kind of have to see everybody. But as you start to mature and you turn 40, you realize, oh, no, I don't have to see everybody. I can spend my time how I want. The coolest thing about the United States and being an entrepreneur and being in dentistry is there's no rules. There's no law around how you spend your time and who you spend it with. So let me start with some basics. There are dollars you collect in your dental practice that we could label damaging dollars. Mm-hmm. They're dollars you're better off not collecting from a patient you don't even enjoy. They cancel a lot. They screw up your schedule. They owe you money. And I could probably show you on a chart, you're losing money. Mm-hmm. Maybe not in dollars out of overhead, but maybe in dollars out of stress and stomach lining. So don't do that anymore. And really, you're not going to change a C patient. They are who they are. So that's one thing. Let me start even bigger than that. All industries do this. Open Table. Some of you think it's a scheduling app. No, it's not. It's a data app where they are running in-depth profiles on you. They know if you're a good customer, and if you cancel enough or don't show on Open Table, you'll get blacklisted. So they'll actually kick you out of the system. And it's amazing how much they know about you. So restaurants are using that, yes, to keep their tables full, but they're also doing that to profile who are our best customers and how do we get more of them. And what's their dollar, check average, all that kind of stuff. You look at the airlines. Airlines have different lines. That's not by accident because they know the A priority line, those people spend 10 times as much as the others. So they're all treated with the same level of dignity and respect. It's just that some people get to go faster in certain lines. Also, American Express. I have an American Express Platinum card. Now, that means nothing, but what that does is it gets picked up on the first ring. You also get to go in every Sky Club, blah, 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 blah. Who cares? But they know that when you have a card like that, now, how does that relate to your practice? The whole idea is to identify these people that you serve as like, who do we want to keep building in our practice? And so what AB said is like, we're going to start the path. And how you do it is just do it daily, whether it be in a huddle, A, B, or C. And you want to stay, it's not about how much money do people have or are they socialites in this community, because that's just not fun and that's a dead end road, but you can start to do this. Now, the question ultimately, if somebody's listening to this podcast, AB, how do I do that? We've moved away from charts. Now, I've been doing this for 30 years. We used to use stickers. We'd have green, yellow, and red stickers, and we would put them on charts. Remember that?
Yes.
In the morning huddle. And then team members were always so nervous. They're like, what if a patient sees the red dot? I'm like, tell them the truth. You want a green dot? Well, show up on time and pay your bill. No, don't do that. So how do I do this in a digital environment? Give me some thoughts.
Yeah, it's every practice management software has a few different areas that we can put it. Whether it's just some of my teams have said, you know what, we really only want to mark the C people. We're going to start with just marking the C people. A really great duo in Evansville, Indiana. Sitzman and Wolf, still track the number of C patients that get on the schedule. So that's also a way to make sure, hey, what we said we were going to do maybe slips sometimes. It's easy, but maybe we're giving those people a chance to become a B patient in hopes that they become an A patient, having tougher conversations with them. So here's the only thing, do not ever put an A, B, or C in a space that if you print a ledger, a mailer, a reminder, or send them a letter of any kind, do not let it print on anything. So don't use the prefix. Don't use the preferred name spot. If you do, please edit before you send them things.
Yeah. Yeah, it has happened. There are a lot of people that use a salutation and do that. And you can, to AB's point, You can do that very effectively. So as you can imagine, the salutation shows up in Dentrix or whatever software you're using. But you can actually, if you know how to use the software, you can check the box that says do not print the salutations on any of the statements or letterheads, and then you're going to want to double check this. And please, this advice is not construed as legal advice on this podcast. But I'm giving you this concept, and what AB says is exactly right. So as you can imagine, it makes it easy as you have a team and you have a growing number of team members, they can instantly look at the schedule. And if you're using something like that, they can instantly identify who are the good patients for the practice. Now, how you use it is really simple. You want to invite the people back that are A patients, and C patients, really simple. You don't have to kick them out. You just stop stalking them. You don't have to reschedule them. Now, in every state, you are required to finish treatment once you start. But once that is done, or if they're in hygiene, you're not required to see them again. So a great hygienist, if you're listening to this podcast, you can say, hey, doc, I got 2 crazies. Can I free them up today because they're C patients? And you can say to the doctor in the morning huddle, and they'll go, yeah, free them up. And one of them might be the doctor's sister. But what's cool is you'll have the data to be able to show that these people are not good for the practice. You could do it in driver's license. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. And I really don't want to get down into the rabbit hole of this, because you do need a specific step process in your software. But the point is this, is that when you have your entire team using a patient identification system, they can start to put energy into the things that matter. And I can tell you for sure, because we've done this so many times, if you have 3 decades of practice in front of you and you're a young dentist and you start growing, you might say, well, I have 1 A patient today. Well, tomorrow you have 2. Then 3 months from now, you have 4 in your schedule. Then, 6 months from now, you're working with AB and you got 6 A patients in your schedule. I can already tell you your production is double. And you're enjoying your day, and they're referring other people like them, and dentistry changes shape. You actually enjoy going to work. You enjoy looking at the day sheet. You enjoy the work that you're doing. This is extremely predictable, but you have to set the sail and start the process with the 2 buckets, identifying the core customer and the patient ID system. What did we leave out? And I know I kind of talked too much on that, AB.
Oh, no.
I love this stuff.
It's so good. Yeah. So it's, when we just take it back a little bit, it's really just about behaviors. We're just documenting behaviors. We're categorizing behaviors. And maybe in the spirit of sometimes I feel a little too nice, not always, but I love to give people a second chance, so right. Really getting your verbal skills aligned to where that B patient who shows up 10 minutes late each time, let's kind of, flex our verbal skills muscles a little bit and say, hey, Kirk, you've been, 10 minutes behind the last 2 visits. It's really putting us behind on our schedule. Is there a better time that works for you for a future appointment? You can have a tough, what feels sometimes like a tough conversation, but in a really easy way to where you're acknowledging the problem, they're hearing that it's causing you a problem, and most people don't want to do that.
Right.
So it's an opportunity.
It's a huge opportunity. I totally agree. And a bonus tip, which we didn't plan to talk about, is another thing you can do to remove yourself from the subjective and move into the objective is you can create appointment codes. 3 basic ones are canceled, no-show, late. Those are not the same behaviors. They're just coding behavior. A cancel is not a no-show, and a no-show is not a late. But every time somebody does one of those behaviors, you can log that into their patient chart. And so you can show the patient later, and sometimes team members don't want to have these tough conversations, but I think it's more about being honest and showing people data. It removes all of the emotion. We're just going to look at the data of these 6 no-show appointments, and you're going to see their time stamped so the patient can go back and look in their iPhone. You can say, Mrs. Jones, as you can see, it looks like our schedules aren't matching up. Now it becomes a less emotional conversation. In order, I would say 6 no-shows, no way. We wouldn't even get to 6. But if after 2, Or even one, you can say, hey, listen, we need to know that when we make this appointment, you're going to be here. I understand things happen. But that's where you have now all of the data and a piece of paper. If you choose, you can make this super clear about how because I agree with you, AB. There are some patients, they just need to know clearly why. Yeah. And I'll tell you, like, it happened to me recently. What was it? Oh, somebody told me, I can't remember where I was. Like I know exactly what it was. Okay, so she's going to kill me.
Better not have been at your dentist office.
No, it's not my dental office. So my wife, Sarah, found a new nail place. There's a new nail place. And she's going to kill me if she finds out.
Sarah, do not listen.
So, and all of her friends are going there. Well, one of her friends got kicked out because she missed, I think, 1 or 2 appointments. They kicked her out. She can't get another appointment. So Sarah missed an appointment. Our son got hurt, so she missed an appointment. And they were having the tough conversation with her saying, I don't know if we can fit you back in the schedule. Maybe you should choose another place. She's like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, honey. And then they sent her this long text, like, these appointments. I'm like, oh my gosh. I started sweating. And so she begged to get back in. And I'm like, honey, we teach this stuff all day long. Don't miss an appointment. And so, because when you find a great nail place, how important, or hair place, you have fabulous hair. Like you don't want to get kicked out by your hairdresser, do you?
Never. No. My hairdresser would call me on the carpet in a second. So.
Right. Now I don't have hair, so I don't understand how any of that works.
So lucky.
But the point is this: when you create value for people and you find the right type of customers, you can create the rules, but you have to give customers, patients, a clear line of sight on how to succeed. So
we have several other great podcasts that really kind of speak to this. I know, Kirk, you and I did one recently about the 6-star experience. And, that leads right into, our responsibilities as the practice, as an office, and how we care for our patients, which then turns into how they act in our practice. Right. So it all kind of goes hand in hand. And, my brain wants to jump to a lot of other things around patient behaviors, but we will not do that to our poor audience right now. So we're going to stick to our main 2 points.
We have so many other topics coming up because you guys keep asking for this stuff. We're going to keep bringing it. So couple things that we want to add for help is we mentioned the differentiating your practice tool. We will add that as a download in the show notes so you can just click on it and use it. It'll give you a great framework on how to differentiate your practice. Also, the patient ID system, if you've never done it before, seems overwhelming. And so we have a great download. You can just download that and get started in that process. And if you like those two, you'll love what's happening in the Best Practices Association. We have an app now and a community back there of all of these tools and resources to help you and your team understand how to get better all the time. And I mean, hundreds and hundreds of videos, and there's hundreds and hundreds of dentists back there, and it keeps growing. And they're always adding great insight, great tips on how they became successful. And you can feel very comfortable in asking any question back there, in which you're supported by an amazing community. So make sure you join us. Come on back and check it out. AB, any other thoughts?
Oh, just dive into the BPA. Get in there. Look around. We've got some great tools. We've got, there's another blog I was just reading, the 3 uniques, and that ties right into core customer and how to differentiate. So explore around the blog a little bit as well. And I think you'll find a lot of great resources that you'll enjoy reading.
Amen, sister. So cool. We'll stick around. Oh, first of all, thank you for being on, as always.
Thank you.
And stick around while we say goodbye to everybody else. But thank you guys for listening to the Best Practices Show. We love this stuff. We keep bringing it. This is what we do all day long. We help great practices become even greater. So all of these things that you think about, keep showing up. We're going to add some perspective, some tools, some guidance. And if any of these podcasts resonate with a challenge, share them with your team. Sometimes it's hard to describe this stuff. Let us do the heavy lifting and describe the nature of the challenge and some ways that you can think about that. So we're going to keep bringing it as you guys keep showing up. So until we see you guys next time, or you hear from us next time, keep watching or keep listening to the Best Practices Show. You guys enjoy your day.